All 5 of these games, they feel that they can put Boston away, but you've got to go start to finish, and they know a lot about this with the Indianapolis 500.
Well, the Boston Celtics 10 days ago stole game 1 here after the Pacers led by 13 points. 8 minutes left in the game. Paul Pierce had 40 points in that game, and here is Miller to start things for the Pacers with that jump shot, shooting 28% from the field in the series. Comes out, long rebound grab by the Celtics, who set up in a half court.
Reggie came here about 3 hours before the ball game was to start, did a lot of extra shooting, and we'll find out whether it pays off. Delk showed up 5 minutes before. You see what he did.
Tony Buckets, Tony Delk, out of Kentucky. And there's a Kentucky Wildcat story here tonight with joining together Jimmy O'Brien, who was an assistant coach on the '95 Wildcat championship team. Tony Battie with a rebound off a Tinsley miss, and up come the Boston Celtics.
Styles of play, Kevin, will determine who wins this ball game. The Celtics are a three-point shooting team. They have consistently better perimeter players. The Indiana Pacers are a better sprint team. They need to get up and down the floor. They need to work harder to get the layup. If they do those things, they win the ball game, and they win it going away.
Walter McCarty with a three-pointer, making it 6-0 Boston. McCarty part of that Wildcat club of '95 at Kentucky. In low, a foul called on Tony Battie. Our officials tonight are Ronnie Nunn, Bob Delaney, and Derek Stafford. Boston has never lost a playoff series when leading 3-1. They are 20-0.
That is a frightening thought if you're an Indiana Pacer fan, to think that you're playing a team with all of that history and all of those good things have happened.
Miller, a step back three-pointer, but he was actually straddling the arc. They're going to give him 2 points. Miller knocks down a banker from long range.
Reggie Miller doesn't bank. Come on. You know.
He calls him. Here's McCarty outside for another 3. That one rimming off. Celtics have not been bashful all year about shooting the 3, and that characteristic continues here in the playoffs. They're shooting 35% as a team.
One of the problems that Miller has is defensively he's guarding Antoine Walker. He's giving away size. He's giving away strength to him. Tinsley.
Running scoop over Battie. Battie made it difficult. Walker with a rebound, and the outlet comes to Tony Delk. 99 three-pointers attempted in the 4 previous games of the playoffs for the Boston Celtics. This is Pierce averaging 28 a game. The step back over Artest rimming off. And this is Jermaine O'Neal with a rebound.
In game 2 here, Pierce had a horrendous game, but bounced back in the next 2. So he's capable of having bad games.
Artest hits a three-pointer. The Pacers on the board, down 1.
The Celtics want a half-court game. They want to make the Pacers and Miller defend, particularly down in the post against Pierce or Walker.
Pierce spins away from the Millers, goes baseline and slams it with 2 hands. Brad Miller was looking to come down and double. Pierce felt the pressure, spun baseline, nobody home.
Operative word, looking. He wasn't really reacting.
Here's Tinsley.
And looking will get you in trouble every time. They're going to get Pierce on the foul against Miller. Pierce is saying, why? How? We've been knocking each other down in this series. But, you know, when you're guarding Pierce, you're playing against an unorthodox player. He can go either way in a quick spin, and he's there. And before the defense can help, he's over the top.
Tinsley at the center of the floor, sets up Artest with 11 to shoot.
Pierce is down.
This is Miller. Running at him was Walker. Pierce pops up, looking at the officials aghast that there's no call. Meantime, O'Neal goes to work to the rim and is fouled by Battie. Jermaine O'Neal will shoot 2.
Battie picks up his second foul. Now, you know, with all of the talk about Reggie Miller, he's been immune most of the times to any kind of pressure about should he perform, should he take shots, and this will be one of those moments where he's sensing and feeling more pressure now in his career than he has at any other stage. And if you were to say, is he shooting it well? Not yet. The bank went in, but all of his short shots have been off just a little bit.
Miller had 18 points in game 2 that the Pacers won here at home after surrendering that lead in game 1. And quickly into the lineup for Tony Battie, out with 2 fouls is Mark Blunt. New Jersey up 3-2, game 6 on Thursday. And San Antonio winning over Phoenix 94-82. Game 6 on Thursday.
Well, Phoenix came back. They were down by 19-20 points, so at least they made a game of it. The Milwaukee-New Jersey series has been surprisingly close, very physical, and Milwaukee thinks they can get a win back in Milwaukee.
O'Neal with a couple of free throws. Tinsley picks up Delk at midcourt. Indiana extends their defense a bit. Blunt, a non-shooter from that range. At the 5 spot, gives over to Delk on the wing with 9 to shoot. This is Walker. Wants some space on Reggie Miller, who gives away about 20 pounds. Walker to the middle. A bank left-hander under duress. Reggie had him locked up, but Walker gets out of jail with a left-hand bank straight away. 10-7 count.
There's a leprechaun. There's a leprechaun, and he's still living.
Miller to O'Neal on the lob. Recovering was Blunt to block it out of bounds.
Antoine Walker hasn't shot this shot all year long, and all of a sudden.
I bet he has somewhere.
No. He's pulling this out. He gets a travel, and he gets a left-hand bank. Come on. Go home.
He manufactures shots. Here's our test outside. He nearly backed one in over McCarty. The rebound taken by Walker. Hard push up the floor. Choppity steps into the lane to the glass. Lead it up and in. A high runner as he got right by the first line of Indiana defense, and nobody was waiting for him at the cup. Celtics lead by 5.
First rule of defense is stop the ball. Nobody stops Walker. He is too good a ball handler and too good a finisher in that situation.
Off to a 5 of 8 start. Now Brad Miller, the all-star, getting involved. Puts it up to the rim. Jermaine O'Neal up around the cylinder, but the bucket will count, and Miller will get credit for it. Or will it?
No, they give that to Jermaine O'Neal.
They did give it to O'Neal. Here's Pierce outside. He's doubled on the wing. 11 to shoot. Delk, cross-court skip pass. McCarty another 3. Walter McCarty knocks it down. They moved him into the starting lineup for Eric Williams in game 3. McCarty did start some games this year, about 13 in total. And he just gives 4s and 5s fits because of his ability to run the floor and shoot that long-range jump shot. Timeout on the floor. Celtics hold a 6-point lead.
The important thing that you got to remember about defending the Celtics is where they are and who they are. You know, in transition, you have to make sure you get to Antoine Walker. He's basically their point guard. Look at the lane open up, and nobody gets there, and they're finished. Now, McCarty will run to either corner and diagonal pass, and he finishes the play. That's why he's in the starting lineup.
One offense to battle any
Pacers do or die for the Pacers tonight. Celtics leading 3-1.
The Indiana Pacers have to believe, one, that they can win the game, and that there's a lot of time left in the game, and not to panic. They're down on the scoreboard, and to work their way back in control of the play on the floor, which they haven't done so far. They've been reacting to everything that Boston has done at the offensive end.
Celtics have hit their last 4 shots. Pacers try to go to work to O'Neal. He's doubled, as the Celtics have done so often here in the series. They want to force the other players to hit a perimeter jump shot. Miller hasn't so far in this series. Down low to Brad Miller.
A hesitant Reggie Miller, because normally he would have pulled the trigger on that, dumped it down to Miller. Brad Miller, and Tinsley picks up the loose change.
Another second chance bucket for the Indiana Pacers. Tony Delk being watched by Tinsley.
What you want defensively is to make them take tough shots. A tough shot. Walker's on it tonight.
He is absolutely on it. With a windshield wiper right-hander across the middle over Jermaine O'Neal. Artest spun around by McCarty. Gives to Brad Miller. Off it comes to Reggie. 14 to shoot beyond the 3-point ring.
Now look at the defense of the Celtics. It's 3 guys around you. Whenever the ball comes inside, Jermaine O'Neal bulls his way in for the deuce.
Delk comes the other way, probes the Indiana defense. Tinsley turns him outside. Pierce operating.
This is what you can't let Pierce do. Start moving. You've got to be able to stay in front of him because he's such an unorthodox player. He'll make so many different kinds of moves. Delk with 2.
On the scramble for the basketball. And you can see Pierce bodied by Artest. The Indiana Pacers have taken on the personality of Isaiah Thomas in the bad boy years in Detroit. They've been a very physical team during the course of the regular season. But Steve, it seems to me in this series, Boston has gone right back at them. Boston's actually had a couple of flagrant 2 fouls in this series so far. They've been a very physical team. They've gone right back at the nature of the Indiana Pacers.
Well, they have. You know, most of that physicalness has been attributed to Ron Artest. Artest is a bull in the china shop. He has played his own game and presented the Pacers with a different image and a different style of time.
O'Neal twitches, turns, and hits a follow-away jumper in the paint. And that pulls the Pacers to within 4 here with 5 minutes left in the first period.
Now you hear so much about defense and that they have to defend. Well, good defense means that you're making teams take shots they don't want to take. If they're taking shots they feel comfortable with, you're going to have problems.
Delk, as he got the jumper off, hit the shot, but a foul called on Blunt before the shot. Blunt involved. And Tinsley is called for the foul. That's the early indication.
On the screen, the push by Tinsley on the pull down of McCarty before he gets in the act of shooting. The Celtics are going to want that hoop. They're asking somebody over there in green, where is it? So he pulled down Mark Blunt, and they do get the bucket from Delk.
So a 6-point lead for the Celtics. And Delk is 3 for 3 thus far in this game. McCarty will come out after hitting a couple of threes. And into the lineup, Eric Williams. Blunt's free throw is good. 3-point play for the Celtics, making it a 7-point lead. And the Celtics' largest lead thus far here early. Here's Miller now coming off an O'Neal screen. O'Neal make that. Harrington will open up. He'll back down on Williams, forced to fade. He shoots an air ball, recovered by Pierce.
Harrington has had some high-scoring games this season, but has not been able to get a rhythm in this series. He's had a couple of games of 40, and it shows you he can score the ball, but he's a better open court player than he is a half-court player. You're going to get a kick ball.
Well, Harrington would tell you, particularly after Game 3, that he's not gotten the minutes. He and Isaiah Thomas had a meeting after Game 3 in which he played 7 minutes.
Harrington coming over and trying to get to that ball. He's out of control. His feet slide and knock Pierce off balance. You hate those kind of fouls. Ron Mercer coming in the ball game. Jamal Tinsley will go down. So now no point guard, and that puts a ball handling duties in the hand of Mercer, Artest, and Reggie Miller.
And puts a smaller Mercer on his former teammate from the Kentucky days, Antoine Walker, and immediately the Boston Celtics go right at that. They get a one-on-one ISO with Eric Williams now working on Harrington. Williams backs and turns. Wild shot off the mark. O'Neal with another rebound.
Eric Williams has not had a good series so far. He's capable of scoring inside and out, but you would like the shots to come under less pressure. O'Neal.
And a foul inside on the Boston Celtics. Walker picks up the foul. That's his first. 4th team foul on the Celtics. Lakers with an early 6-point lead, 16-10 on Minnesota. New Jersey beat Milwaukee. San Antonio over Phoenix.
You know, they talked about Minnesota Game 4 being the most important game in franchise history. Every game they play is the most important game in Minnesota history.
Jermaine O'Neal, 9 points and 4 rebounds. Should see that same type of urgency tonight from the Indiana Pacers as Blunt gets off a jump shot straight away. Artest with a rebound. Celtics lead by 6. 3:36 to go in the first quarter. Artest will swing it over here to Mercer.
What Boston has done is decided they're going to keep the Indiana Pacers shooting the ball from the perimeter. So they are getting back defensively. Then they're zoning up. You've got to make that shot. Mercer delivers.
Well, when you're down 3-1, there's a great deal of criticism, of course, coming from all corners. One of the critiques was offered up by Ron Artest, who says we're not moving the ball, we're not spreading the ball around enough, we're dumping it to O'Neal and we're standing. There's O'Neal with a scramble play.
Well, they're saying they're playing a single-minded offense, and that is just get it into the big guy, let him score, because Boston hasn't had an answer for it. But the other guys have to find different ways to score, as Boston players have found different ways to score.
J.R. Bremer makes contact with the fallen Harrington. and a block foul called on Harrington. 2:50 left in the first quarter, and the Celtics lead the Pacers 22-18. Boston leading 3-1. We're back to Indianapolis in a moment. 46% from the field thus far in the series, and he has gotten off to a very creative start in this game, Steve Jones.
You know, Antoine Walker is a very creative player, and he showed it with his first effort. That left-hander went in. He's able to lead the break and finish. He has a variety of moves, and all of them on display in his first 3 possessions. So Walker having an impact on the ball game, and when he's off to a start like that, it's bad news for the opponent. He's getting an early break here in the ball game.
And you claim he's never hit the falling away left-handed step through off glass from 12 feet.
Claim it's a fact. It's a fact. We got to go back in the archives all the way back to high school. We might not find that shot again.
You've been in the West too long, my friend. Here's J.R. Bremer, the rookie from St. Bonaventure, stepping to the free throw line, and the lefty knocks it down. Jimmy O'Brien started Bremer coming out of camp as his point guard, but he's turned the reins over to Tony Delk.
Well, one of the problems that Al Harrington has is foul trouble. He's got 2 of them right now, and that takes him out of the ball game. So when he gets himself in foul trouble, he cannot complain to the coach about playing something.
Bremer uncorks a couple of free throws, and the Celtics lead by 6. Ron Artest shooting 38% in the series from the field to Mercer. Not much better from the field. The ball batted out of bounds. 9 to shoot, and Indiana will take it.
Now, there was a clear example. Reggie Miller popped from the baseline. He was free. Artest went the other way. So when people talk about Reggie Miller, they're not getting him the ball. You can't shoot it if you don't get it.
Miller, the step back, left it short over Bremer. Williams with the rebound. JR will bring it ahead. Celtics with Blunt and Pierce out there. Williams, McCarty back in. Remember, he nailed a couple of threes early in this first quarter.
Ron Artest for this foul.
Ron Artest throws the foul. It's his first.
What the Indiana Pacers have to do is get comfortable with the situation of win or the season is over, and play within themselves. They've got a lot of time, 38 minutes to win this game, and they have to figure out how to control Paul Pierce, Antoine Walker at the defensive end of the floor.
Right now Artest laying on Pierce, but he still gets open. He forced up the shot. Another air ball. This one recovered by Ron Mercer. So Pierce 1 of 4. 2 of them have been air balls. Now Artest will take it the other way to Miller.
Now, it's early in the ball game for Paul Pierce.
Yes, it is.
And you know, normally he can live with a bad stretch early in the ball game and usually comes alive in the second half.
As he did in game 4. He had 37 points. He had 5 at half. The Celtics were down 12 at half. Delk had a big first half with 14 of his 21. And then Pierce raised up with 32 in the second half, 21 in the third quarter.
And he looked equally as bad in that game as he's doing right now.
And he double dribbled the ball, got away with it. Williams sidewinds into a bad shot, and O'Neal with a recovery.
Now, every time the Pacers get the ball, they should look for a hard, aggressive push. Don't settle to be a half-court team. This is not a great half-court team. They don't execute well, and they don't shoot it well. That's why they go to O'Neal so much.
Here's Mercer outside for the jumper that's short. Mercer grabs the long rebound. Mercer reloads and knocks it down. Mercer shooting 38% in the series, has his second bucket, and you can see the Pacers are operating without a point guard. Artest maybe is the closest to a point guard that you can come to out there on the offensive end right now. Artest plays multiple positions. 51 seconds left in the first period, and 10 to shoot for the Celtics, who held a 7-point lead.
Coming with Tim Hardaway, who's at the scorer's table to fill that bill.
McCarty open again for a 3. This one rimming. And Mercer with a rebound.
Let's see how quickly Boston gets back. So, you know, Indiana's got to look for that quick push. Otherwise, they're stuck playing half court.
O'Neal slips the screen. Mercer led him with a pass. Foul called inside as O'Neal collides with Eric Williams. Was he outside the restricted area? And was he set in the view of the official Ronnie Nunn? He was, and it's an offensive foul. The charge on O'Neal.
You know, everyone knows what this call should be. And Eric Williams is out in front and gets the call to go in his favor.
He met all the criteria. Celtics have missed their last 4 shots. Celtics, however, have been able to take the Pacer fans somewhat out of this first quarter. It's not the frenzy, the immediacy in this building. You don't sense that, Steve.
You know, I think that all of the fans are waiting for a big eruption. They want some offense. They want to get a lead. They've been nervous since day one of this series about how this team was going to respond to the Celtics. And when they gave that game away, they've been on the edge of their seat since then. Tim Hardaway in the game.
12 on the shot clock, 15 on the game clock. Pierce with it, having his difficulties with Mercer. Now O'Neal jumps out to double. Ball rattled free, grabbed by Mercer with 5. Mercer with 4, juggle the ball off to Hardaway. Over to Foster with 2. Trailing on the play for the slam. Walker will not get off a shot. Harrington steals. He'll fire it up at the buzzer, and that thing nearly went in from half court. So at the end of one quarter, the Pacers rally from 7 back to pull within 2, and the crowd now on their feet as the Pacers come up with spirited play in the final minute, forcing the Celtics into missing their last 5 shots. We'll return with the second quarter run from Conseco Fieldhouse in a moment on NBA television. Kevin Calabro. Paul Pierce has had his difficulty. Snapper shooting in the first quarter, 1 of 4, a couple of them air balls, and Ron Artest getting very physical with him.
Well, one of the reasons that Paul Pierce has had trouble is the way that they're defending him. I mean, first off, they're trying to keep pressure on him, try to turn him around. So there's a physicality of Ron Artest, and then Jermaine O'Neal will come up from the baseline and give some help. Everyone in here wanted a double dribble. They didn't get it. So, but Pierce is used to this kind of pressure. He's going to find a way to get in the game at some point, and you've got to prevent that.
Well, he sets up McCarty for an open jump shot on the wing after the penetration. Give the assist to Pierce. Don't forget, he has averaged 6 assists in this series as well.
Walker and Pierce both look for players in the corner. You know, the more you play against an opponent, the more familiar you should be, and there should be guys covering Walter McCarty in the corners.
Walker laying in the weeds with the steal, and Bremer in transition left it short. O'Neal with a rebound. O'Neal with 6 boards snapped, 9 points. Been very active here early.
O'Neal has been doing his job. The question is, does he have enough friends? He gets away with the ball.
Hard dribble drive and just packs it once he got there. Celtics by 2. Celtics shooting 10 of 20, 50% on the road, and the Pacers at 43%. Walker set out on the wing. Doubled, cross-court pitch. Good recovery by Foster on McCarty. Forced him to the rim, tracked him to the rim, blocked the shot. Williams, the hustle play, threw it away. Pacers the other way. Hardaway with a bad right wheel. Hesitation dribble into the lane. Sneaks to the glass, banked it in. He was using every gear he had there, Steve.
He has no more gears left. That's all flashback, but Hardaway found a way to get it in, and here the crowd comes to life.
Because the Pacers fought from 7 back to tie it at 26 all. Foul called as Mercer bumps Pierce.
You know, when you look at Tim Hardaway and you remember how good he once was and how this wouldn't even have been close, you have to really applaud him just for the effort and the energy. He gets a big finish there and brings the crowd to their feet.
Joined the Pacers in late March, coming from the broadcast studio back to the floor, and paid instant dividends for the Indiana Pacers. Pierce lost the handle as he tried to drive in to 3 defenders, and Hardaway comes away with it again. O'Neal trailing, twirls it in with the left hand, but a foul called by Derek Stafford, and this is a charge once again on O'Neal. It's his second.
They are wearing Jermaine O'Neal out with this play right here, getting in front, and then O'Neal trying to come through or around to get the call. But right here, McCarty comes out in front, gets the call. Now, O'Neal might have been touching.
Cost Indiana a bucket.
Oh, a tough shot, Pierce.
Pierce whirls in. He got in deep, and a foul is called, and now the crowd, incensed with the officials, will let him hear about it.
Well, what's the difference? Jeff Foster and company not out in front on the arc, and for the calls that have gone against Indiana, Williams first, McCarty second. They've been out in front of that arc to get the charge.
Pierce hits the first of 2. NBA television is now available in HD every day of the week. The daily NBA TV programming block will feature some of the greatest NBA games of all time, including playoffs, finals, and all-star games, shot in the brilliance of high definition. Pierce misses the second free throw. O'Neal with another rebound. That is his 7th of the game.
Now, Indiana's got 2 guys that they need to stay out on the floor. Harrington's got 2. Jermaine O'Neal's got 2. They've got to be able to make sure that O'Neal stays in the game here in this final 9.
7 to shoot for Harrington. Mercer airborne with 4 to shoot. Knocked it down just inside the three-point perimeter. It is the first Pacer lead at 28-27 after trailing by 7 midway through the first period.
Now, Boston as a team feels comfortable playing from the rear. They feel that in the fourth quarter, the Indiana Pacers will fold, and they may not have to worry about it because Walker gets another.
He just backed Harrington down into no man's land and then suddenly pulled up with a jump hook of the right hand. What a move. Hardaway has the 2nd most playoff games under his belt on this Pacer ball club, only to Reggie Miller. And he's showing the seasoning right now. O'Neal cross court to Mercer. Open pop won't go. Foster took a hack at the ball and deflects it out of bounds. This will be Boston basketball.
See, and what happens for Indiana, it's one and done. And, you know, they need to be able to get multiple opportunities out of their half-court set because they're not a great half-court team. And they're not a great shooting team.
Boston has held their own on the glass in this series as well. They've given away 3 a game to Indiana. And the Pacers, on paper anyway, are a better rebounding club. Here's McCarty. Walker feeling it. In and out. O'Neal with 8 recoveries tonight and 11 points. Nice screen, and then O'Neal to pop out for the jumper. Deflected free. There's a second opportunity. Harrington giving to Mercer, cutting to the glass, but he juggled it. Delk the other way as numbers 2-on-1 from Walker. Laid it up and in. Nice play. Well, it's the Celtics snap that are taking it at the Pacers. They refuse to get caught in the half court. They're going right at it.
Well, whenever they've had a chance to run, they've pushed the pace of the game. They've gotten the easy play and made it very simple. Hardaway splits a double.
And there was a time when he had the wickedest crossover in the NBA in his days at Golden State. Hardaway for 3. Just as time had expired on the shot clock, Tim Hardaway with a 3-pointer has put the Pacers back into a tie at 31.
As he breathes heavily, Isaiah Thomas is hoping, can he turn back the hands of time? Paul Pierce.
Pierce makes contact with Foster, and this will be a charge called on Pierce. Wipe out that bucket.
Paul Pierce wants to understand where the call went against him. As Foster comes in, he's still moving. Pierce takes the bump. Thought he had to finish, but no.
Basket.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. Well, we thought Tim Hardaway's TV career was over, but I was in the Pacers locker room before the contest, and he has a monologue going on while he's watching a replay of Sunday's loss. I tell you what, he needs a microphone right now. Even though he hits the big 3 to tie things up at 31, he has a monologue on the last game, a monologue on the referees, and a monologue on what he'll do if he gets a chance to get out there and play. He showed it on the last play. Kevin, back to you.
Well, Snap, I think you hit it on the head, though, how much time is left for Tim Hardaway. He's played just 2 months of the regular season with the Indiana Pacers, and obviously has the right knee that hastened the curtailment of his career, but makes a great cross-court skip pass to Harrington for the open jump shot. And again, he was able to explode with what he had in there to draw the double team.
Well, the quickness is still there. I mean, the foot speed is not like it was, but he does have the quickness. And if they let him get a little head of steam coming up, he's able to change direction. Let's see how well he does if he has to defend. Nice play, Boston.
Pick and roll as Batiste scores with a 2-hand slammer.
So far, Boston has been able to run whatever they wanted. Since Hardaway's come in the game, the offense has been much better. Indiana's bench making a huge contribution for them.
12-point difference for the Indiana bench to the end line. O'Neal the follow-away jump shot. Harrington snares it beautifully beneath the rim. Double pumps and a crowd missed it. Reloads, missed it. Volleys the ball, dives for it. That's the hustle play the Pacers will need. But McCarty comes up with it. Ahead to Walker. Pacers pack the paint.
You have to love Al Harrington and all of the energy that he uses out there, but he just needs to be a little bit more patient on that effort.
Foster blocks the trick shot of Walker right to Harrington. Long strides into the lane, but finger rolled it short. Boston the other way.
Again, a little bit more patience. You're going to get that shot. That shot could fall, and he rushed his opportunity.
McCarty's all alone in the corner. O'Neal runs out at him. Was he in time? He was. Harrington with a rebound.
Well, you can see the Pacers are running out of gas. Nobody wants to run with Tim Hardaway. They should have been in a full sprint. They turned it over.
O'Neal to the floor. Williams with the easy steal up the floor to McCarty. Early offense. Nice pivot move away from Hardaway to lay it in. Walter McCarty gives the Celtics the lead of 2.
And you can tell which team wants to run. As Isaiah Thomas says, guys, we got to have a timeout.
With the Celtics holding a 2-point lead and 5:46 left in the second. We'll return with more on NBA TV in a moment.
Go ahead. Take it off.
Celtics leading the Pacers by 2. 5:46 to go in the second quarter of play. Under his stewardship, the NBA has made great gains over 3 decades now. Of course, we're talking about the Commissioner of Basketball, David Stern, standing by with Andre Aldridge.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. You know, the Love It Live Legends Tour, my friends Bob Lanier and Moses Malone, I talked to them. They're enjoying the playoffs, but Commissioner Stern, how are you enjoying the festivities?
It's great. All of the first round series are extraordinarily competitive. Everything's on TV, and I don't know what we do with that NBA TV.
You know what? It's very interesting, too, in the series with the 1-8 matchups, Commissioner. We've got the 8 seeds in both sides doing some serious business.
That, I think, vindicates the owner's judgment in going to the best out of 7. We've had very competitive series.
All right, well, Commissioner, I know you're here to enjoy the game like all of us, so we're going to get back to this good Pacers-Celtics matchup. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Andre.
All right, Kevin, snapper back to you guys.
Thanks, Andre. And, of course, tomorrow, the Orlando Magic, the 8th seed in the East, leading 3-1 over the number 1 seed. The Detroit Pistons will be here on NBA TV in high definition. The legal defense, the call, and 1 point tacked on for the Pacers by Ron Mercer. Now they get possession as well. A legal defensive 3 seconds played by Boston.
Combination Mercer-Hardaway have really given the Pacers a shot in the arm in terms of providing offense. Nice pass to Hardaway.
Hardaway enters it to O'Neal, leading him to the rim. He is fouled and will shoot 2.
Again, you cannot make up for experience, and this is one thing that Tim Hardaway has. Jamal Tinsley will have to get to. Look how quickly O'Neal gets that ball. As soon as he's open, it's right there. He has a chance to go to the free throw line because of it.
52 games logged in by Hardaway in the postseason.
Hardaway has had some of his best moments in the playoffs. Exciting, big finishes, and you know, there's one thing about a player. I don't care how old he is. You give him sneakers, you give him shorts, he still thinks he's got one more bullet that he'd like to fire, and Hardaway is that way. And you know, you like to see Reggie out there because they speak the same language.
O'Neal hits 2 free throws. Only 6 teams in the history of the league have come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a series. 2 since 1980. One was the championship team of '81, the Boston Celtics, and the other, the '97 Miami Heat team that came back to win over New York. And Hardaway was a member of that ball club. Here's Tony Buckets, Tony Delk.
Delk is on. Delk is on today, and that's not good news for the Indiana Pacers because you always have to be concerned about Pierce and Walker, and now you got to really stop McCarty and Delk. Another hoop for O'Neal.
O'Neal has 15. Delk with 11 has hit 5 for 5 as he prances up the floor. Only 6 teams in NBA history have rallied from the 3-1 deficit, and the last time Miami defeated New York in '97. Remember, that was the year that New York had all those players suspended because of the bench clearing brawl, so they were shorthanded in games 6 and 7. So you can put an asterisk by that one. Here's a bucket counted inside on a goaltending call.
We need to discuss that. Did they win the series? And because they won the series and the people got suspended, you put an asterisk by it?
Well, not in any way to diminish the effort, but only to point out, Snap, the Knicks were shorthanded. They were the #1 seed. Here's Hardaway for 3. Came up short, and Walker with a rebound. I love it when Walker palms that ball, crouches, glances down the floor, takes a look, and then he works out on the left side. Oh, look at him. He's shaking, baking, weaving it between the wickets. And a whistle. That's 3 seconds in the lane. Or is it? On Indiana defensively.
McCarty was parked. He had his hands up. He was ready to go. You know, he's the guy that's the outlet for either Walker or Pierce. They get the defensive 3-second violation. Delk adds to his total.
Tony Delk on the heels of the 21-point effort in Game 4 with 12 points. Delk perfect from the field. Austin Crozier will step into the lineup now, and Jeff Foster will step out.
Now here's the substitution. This guy has not been playing in this series so far and hasn't played a lot the entire season. He's either going to be huge or he's going to be a guy that needs about 5 more games before you put him in.
Boston goes right at him in the matchup with Eric Williams. 8 to shoot. Nice little jump hook on the baseline, drew the foul, and Williams will shoot on the foul to Crozier.
Right now the problem is Boston is able to get the ball anywhere they want at the offensive end. Defensively, when you're in this position, you're just reacting, and he reacts late. He gets the call against him on the bump. Now have a chance for a 3-point play.
Williams gives Boston a 5-point lead.
So Indiana has to play catch up again. They've never really been able to control the scoreboard. They've never been able to control the flow out on the floor here in the first 24 minutes.
Artest bangs and bumps across the middle, switch left to right hand. Petit waiting for him, flagged it away, 1 to shoot. Artest recovered it but missed it. Petit with the rebound.
That's an Artest-like effort, though. He's the only guy that can miss his own shot and still get it up.
Oh, wow. Walker with a transition 3-point shot. Knocks it down, and the Celtics have their largest lead of 8, 46-38. A 9-0 run over the last 1 minute and 18 seconds. And Walker 6 for 9, 13 points, leading Boston.
The only guy that's consistently been a threat at the offensive end has been Jermaine O'Neal. Misses that opportunity. Boston on the run.
Boston on the glass, their 16th recovery of the game. They've been outboarded only by 5. McCarty doubled out to Delk, open Jay. 6 for 6. They call him Tony Buckets, Tony Delk. He was the superstar on that Kentucky team. He was the SEC Player of the Year in '95, the year the Wildcats won the championship. And he has given the Celtics a 10-point lead. And Indiana Snap needs a timeout to think about things with 3 minutes left here in the half.
They need more than a timeout. They need a little help right now. So they've got to collect themselves. They've got to come up with some offensive energy so that will give them some defensive life. Right now, Boston able to run whatever they want to run, and they're shooting a big percentage here in the first half.
Celtics hold their largest lead, and Tony Delk has hit 6 for 6. It's this.
There was one offense to battle any defense.
The defense of the Indiana Pacers has been on their heels, and Boston has been able to get whatever they want. Walker in rhythm, in transition. Same kind of play right here. Look at McCarty, draw people to him, and Tony Delk will just step into a wide open opportunity, and the net is nothing but full of money and green stuff for Boston right now.
Goal at the end of the rainbow there. 10-point lead now for the Celtics.
And what Indiana has to do is just find someone to keep them close. Keep them in the ball game. Jermaine O'Neal, a nice snatch and a finish.
And fouled. And O'Neal with 17 points and 9 rebounds in the first half.
You know, and all you need in the NBA is one player to keep you close while everybody else eventually finds some sort of offensive rhythm. Tonight for the Boston Celtics, they have had several people involved offensively. They haven't even needed Paul Pierce. Don't let the second half show up.
The Pacers this quarter have not been shooting well. They opened up 5 of 7. Since then, 2 for their last 11. Meantime, Boston has gone on, previous to the 2 points by O'Neal, an 11-0 run over the last minute and a half.
Ball game is tied at 38 in Minnesota. Lakers got more than their hands full with the T-Wolves.
Petit covered outside by O'Neal. And that loosens things up for Walker on the wing, one-on-one on Artest. Look at the jump hook with a right hand, bringing it from mid-range at about 12 feet out. He has had the full repertoire falling tonight.
Well, right now they're making shots, and Indiana they have to just come back and get some offense going themselves. When the opponent is making shots, you got to make shots. You cannot go through a stretch where you're missing, otherwise the scoreboard just pulls away from you.
Walker's 7 for 10, and the Celtics shooting 58%. Mercer jump stop, turns to the hook, wouldn't go. Rebound Artest, he'll put it back up and in, and he is fouled.
And Antoine Walker has been the offensive force along with Tony Delk here in the first half of play, but he's just been able to get everything to go in. And that's a jump hook in rhythm, and whatever rhythm he is in a great rhythm. Same shot. I guess Mercer didn't practice it as much as Kentucky. And a big save by Artest to keep it an 8-point game.
And Walker's not scoring on just anybody. He's scoring on 240-pound Ron Artest, who is second in the league and battling for Defensive Player of the Year behind Ben Wallace. He was second in the league in steals, but he's averaging nearly 3 a game.
But let's remember this. A good offensive player, as he aired that one out, always has the advantage over a defender, because the defender is always reacting to what he sees. So when a good offensive player is going good, you just have to take the hit.
Artest for 3. He gunned it in. Ron Artest from long range. The Celtics lead is trimmed to 4 with 1:16 to go in the half.
Now that would be the good news, to not control anything, to have the opponent shoot better than 50%, and you go in down 2 or 4, you're in great shape for the second half.
Crowd on their feet now with 9 to shoot. Williams goes to work on Crozier. Backs and bumps. Turns. Whirls in off balance. Foul called out on the floor before the shot.
Boston isolating Walker, isolating Williams, and allowing them to go one-on-one. McCarty, the same thing, where they're backing their opponent down. Nobody's coming to them, and when they do, they're finding the open man. So who's ever defending, as Austin Crozier goes out and Brad Miller comes in, you've got to do a better job, make that guy give up the ball.
Indiana had the foul to give, the first in the last 2 minutes, and so Boston will get it in bounds. 14 to shoot, 58 seconds to play in the half.
Same situation.
But it's Miller this time on Williams. Outside to Delk. The 3. Glances off the rim short. O'Neal with a rebound. Here comes Reggie Miller. Oh! Miller spins away from the lunging Delk. The 2 make contact. No whistle. Cross court. Artest with a rock. Spins into traffic. Found the arms of the Celtics. Couldn't get the foul, but got the rebound. Trapped on the end line with a reset of the clock. 19 to shoot, 24 seconds to play in the quarter, and Ron Mercer wisely will bring it outside. They'll set it up with 11 to shoot. This is Miller. Leans in on Delk, drew the bump, and the shot just hit the back rim and popped out. He'll get 2.
Well, nobody is better at drawing fouls than the thin man. And Reggie Miller comes in, gets a little contact, gets it up, looks at Bob Delaney. What he's upset about is he got poked in the face prior to that. No whistle was called. But Miller, who has been a great free thrower his entire career, will step to the line, try to make this a 2-point ball game.
Miller's free throw is good. Miller shooting 94 on 16 of 17 thus far in this series. Miller puts 2 free throws in the bank. Pacers win in 2. 6 seconds left in the second quarter. Walker goes to work the lean-in right-hander, hanging on the rim. Foster brings the rebound down, and that will end the half here in Indiana. So the Pacers survive an 8-point Boston lead by going on a 10-2 run over the last 2.5 minutes to pull within 2 at half at 50 to 48.
Well, they were down 10, and they got a run of their own, so they have to feel good about where they are for the second half of play. And it'll be interesting to see how Isaiah approaches the second half, knowing that that is Paul Pierce time.
It's halftime here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and the Pacers need another quality half of basketball to continue their playoff run. We'll return on NBA television to Conseco Fieldhouse in a moment. Of regulation left in this one as we begin this third quarter with the Celtics up 2.
Well, the big problem with the season is that they were so good early, 37-15 at one point in the season, and suddenly they go through this collapse, and their collapse is extended right on into the playoffs. I mean, they've had leads in ball games coming down the stretch and lost them, and that's what's happened in this playoff series. So they got to change their personality. They have to go in and get transplants or something at halftime, then they need to get it done, but they have to win this ball game to keep their season going, to give themselves a chance. Pierce, another miss.
Artest might have had a piece of that one. And in defense of Isaiah Thomas in the second half of the season, consider the calamities that befell the Indiana Pacers. Personally, Tinsley lost his mother to cancer. Jermaine O'Neal's father, who was a security guard here at Conseco Fieldhouse, critically injured himself with a handgun and is still in critical condition and in a coma. And Artest, of course, was suspended for 12 games in the second half of the season for various and sundry reasons. And that in itself would be enough of a distraction.
This is a guy you don't want to see shooting jump shots at Jeff Foster. So it's not a good way to start your offense off. You got to go back to your offensive players. Foster's in there to defend, to get rebounds. Remember what you do and do it well in elimination.
Here's pitches outside to Walker as Foster one-on-one blows by him to the baseline, leans in. Great little lateral step, taking the two bigs to the rack and laying it in. And Walker now the money man, 8 of 13, 17 points.
He's keeping the pressure on, and they're, for the Indiana Pacers, they're hoping that Pierce doesn't wake up and that they can, somehow survive the onslaught of Walker and Delk at the offensive end.
Here's Miller off balance, and he got it. That's a Reggie Miller jump shot, flailing the legs, sending it in with the right hand and glaring at the official as he goes the other way. Miller 1 for 10 from the field over his last 2 ball games.
One thing that has to stop for Indiana is the movement of the ball. It's moving too easy. The results are Delk, Walker finishing plays.
Delk just steps by Tinsley for the open hopper, and then Miller in the transition to the glass laid it in.
That was a transition hoop and a rare one for the Pacers. And another part of the game that they could accelerate is their running game. Try to get up and down the floor, get some easier shots against a stingy Boston defense.
Miller with 8 points. Pierce pitches to Petit. Turns inside and knocks down a beauty from 12 feet in the paint. 56-52 Celtics by 4. Anything you get from Petit offensively is icing. Artest has Pierce on the baseline, flattened, throws outside to O'Neal, running right-hander going left. Long rebound grabbed by Petit in the outlet to Walker. And Tinsley immediately grabs it.
One of the things that Reggie Miller has always done throughout his career is move without the basketball. So he's going to fake a screen, then he's just going to keep moving, come a little bump, and then get this little runner to go. That's the kind of shot that will get Reggie Miller going. Backed it up with an early layup. Pierce looking for his second hoop of the night, still can't find it.
Now he's 1 for 6. Foster, who got the start here in the third quarter, is hacked by McCarty. Indiana pushing it up that time. They had numbers.
What do you know about long jump? You know that those long jumpers have to get their steps right. Foster was getting his steps at half court. He was getting all ready to get that pass and got it in stride. If he missed one step, he would have not caught the ball. Lakers by 10 at the break.
He'll never be confused with Bob Beeman. Foster to the Of course, in Foster's defense, Beeman had the record, of course, since broken by Mike Powell, I believe, but Beeman will always be known. Did it in the rarefied air of Mexico City, mile high. Here's Foster now. The first one's good, and the second up and in.
You know what Beeman can say? Nobody else in rarefied air has ever broken it anyway. So don't blame it on the air, Jack. Let me have my day.
He had it. 9:06 left third quarter, and the Celtics by a deuce. Petit on a dribble weave. Delk. He's going to let it fly for 3. Why not? Tony Petit has been on fire tonight. It's a Delk from Petit, 8 of 9. Tony Delk with 19 points.
Tonight it is buckets. It is buckets Delk. He has a career high of 51 points, and he's playing like that guy played against one of his former teammates, Sacramento. When he was at Phoenix, he lit them up. Miller draws the foul.
Second on Walker.
Now this is big time range from Delk, a couple of feet behind the line, and this is when you know you got that happy feeling. Look at that center.
Boy, I tell you, no mistaking that.
So Tinsley out of the ball game, Ron Mercer in.
And Tim Hardaway waiting somewhere in the wings, I'm sure. The inbounds pass, cross court. Miller didn't see it. It was underthrown. He tried to jab it over to O'Neal, and that is an unforced error, and the Pacers can ill afford that. Down 5 with 8:35 to go in the third quarter.
Now what they got to do is come up and meet the ball. They got to make the Celtics set up further out on the floor. They're getting too much good ball movement, player movement on Antoine Walker, a moving screen.
Third foul on Walker. And it turns it back to Indiana.
You know, whenever you're trying to screen, you have to be still. Now, he's going to move just a little bit and get a piece of Reggie Miller. Call goes against him. Now, if you're a Pacer fan, you're just salvaging any kind of bright spot right now because they've been so difficult to come by.
And Batiste fronts O'Neal, forcing the turnover. Miller trying to lob it over the top, but Walker from the weak side with the steal. And then he throws it right to Isaiah Thomas for a Boston turnover.
And I don't think Zeke has on any kind of green over there, so I don't know how he could have mistaken it.
Foster starting this third quarter for Brad Miller.
But look at the difference in the way that Boston is defending. They put pressure on the ball. They don't let him come inside without some sort of contact. Keep him out on the perimeter.
Mercer from long range, rimming off the rebound. Walter McCarty. Celtics by 5. They led by as many as 10. Pierce well outside the three-point arc. His third air ball of the night. That one goes out of bounds. And Pierce 1 of 7. 3 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Yet the Celtics lead by 5.
The best thing about these guys is they're immune to bad moments. I mean, they can look awful. And Pierce is looking just hideous tonight. And, you know, he can wake up and just explode for big numbers and make you forget all those air balls he's tossed up tonight. Miller
leads the NBA postseason in three-pointers made and attempted, but that one rimming off.
They isolate Jeff Foster. This is not a good position for him against a very mobile Antoine Walker.
Pierce is going to have to create a shot as he leans in on Artest and walks with the basketball. So Artest's defense has been stingy tonight, one-on-one on Paul Pierce.
This is a replay of game 2 for Paul Pierce. Just an awful game, and he has done nothing to help himself out of the mire right now.
Ron Artest up top. 6:40 left in the third quarter.
Pacers have to capitalize on it. They get a foul against Tony Batiste.
Yeah, as Pierce struggles, they've got to take advantage. They've not done that. Still down 5.
Yeah, you know, they've got to find a way to get a good offensive flow going and stay with it. Stay with that rhythm. They like to come to Jermaine O'Neal. He has not touched the ball here in the second half.
O'Neal up top will screen. Artest off the pick, drives to the hoop and foul. Will shoot 2. Foul on Tony Batiste as his 5th foul.
Well, Batiste hasn't hurt them. I mean, even if he leaves the game, he uses them all. He has not been a big factor in this ball game.
And keep in mind, Walter McCarty has played the majority of the minutes at 5 while starting at the power forward. He's switched over and has played a lot at center, and Mark Blunt is getting set to come off the bench as well as Artest knocks in the first free throw. As
Batiste goes to the bench, let us remember that Batiste had the flagrant foul.
Yeah.
And did not play in game 1. They still won that. New Jersey by 7. San Antonio by 12. Both of those teams have the hammer now. Now let's see if they can put their opponents away.
Artest drills 2 here at the line. And the Pacers are within 3. 6:30 to go, third quarter. Delk, 8 of 9, 19 points. And 17 for Walker tonight. McCarty hit a couple of threes in the first quarter. He'll hand off to Pierce in the weave, but he'll back it out to Walker for a 3. That was a bad shot. Long rebound grabbed by Miller.
Well, he's got a few bad shots in him now. He hasn't missed many tonight, so he's dialed in pretty good. The Pacers have to be able to tie this thing up. They got to get to where they can score some points too close together.
Mercer and Foster juggle the Exchange, and then Artest, after picking up the loose ball, had it stripped, and they say it's last touch by Artest. Boston will take it back. So the Celtics cling to the lead with 5:56 left in the third. They have a 3-point lead in what could be the deciding 5th game here in Indianapolis.
Paul Pierce has been Paul Pierce himself, and Pierce is having a horrible night tonight, but he's got the luxury of having a couple of teammates that have been lifting him higher and higher, and one of them happens to be Tony Delk. Delk has been on fire and been able to come up with big plays for Boston here in the second half to keep them on the lead. He is hitting nothing but the center of the net, and that is a good story for Paul Pierce, who has been all around the edges and found a lot of air, and Boston still leads by 3.
Steve, the old rule of thumb for a shooter who's not going well is to try to post up, get something near the rim, and at least get to the line. Pierce has averaged 13 free throws attempted in the previous 4 games. Tonight he's attempted 1 free throw.
Well, one of the things you have to do is keep shooting. Nice play by Ron Mercer to steal it.
Miller in transition to Artest. Threw it on a dime beneath the rim. Artesto is crowded, and Blunt comes up with the stop. Good scramble by Mark Blunt to get back into play. Celtics by 3.
Well, the Celtics fast breaks have been finishes, and the Indiana Pacers have been hopes, and they have only hoped a couple of them in. Eric Williams deep.
Oh, he is indeed. Turns and is blocked by Artest, and it comes free to O'Neal.
The problems for Indiana are mostly at this end of the floor. You got to manufacture some offense. You got to find somebody that can score the ball. Artest rolling his way in.
Oh, Paul Pierce comes across to the weak side with a block. And the Celtics come the other way. The Pacers have not scored a field goal in the last 5 minutes of play. And they trail by 3. Walker in deep, turns, his shot blocked by Foster. Recovery by Williams is thwarted. Foster with a block out to Miller, leading to Artest. Ripped and fouled by Delk. Artest has pulled the Pacers to the win 1. Williams missed the shot, but Blunt following the miss, laid it up and in, and the Celtics maintain the lead of 3. Blunt was reacquired at the trade deadline from the Denver Nuggets. He was with them last year in the playoffs. He actually started with the Celtics during the regular season.
How fast do you think Blunt got to the airport?
Oh, real fast. Here's Foster beneath the rim on a nice feed. Reversed it up and in. Pacers within 1, playing for their playoff lives. 3:51 to go, third quarter.
Crowd is just dying for something for the home team to happen where they can get control of the scoreboard. Anytime they've had a lead, it's been temporary.
This is Pierce to the baseline. Looking for an opening, double pumps, tried to sling it over to Blunt, did 3 to shoot, got off the shot, and he bailed out Pierce. Mark Blunt with a fall-away jump shot. He's come up with 2 big buckets back-to-back. Celtics by 3.
That's why they made the trade. Huh?
Well, they had too many shooters with Shammond Williams. They sent Shammond to the mountains. Down low, backing down is O'Neal. Into the lane, missed it. Foster tried a one-handed tip and missed it badly. Pierce with a rebound out to Walker. As a man on the wing, it's Blunt. He's got the hot hand. He'll send it back to Pierce, though, trailing. He rammed into his own man. Plays off the contact and is fouled, and Paul Pierce finally gets to the line.
You always look for the other guys to come in and make a contribution in some way or another, and just when you think that you've got them defended, Mark Blunt comes in, tips it in, and he's just making himself available, and again, finding himself in the area where he's got to shoot the ball, finishes the play, back-to-back hoops. Celtics on the lead.
There was one offense to battle any.
Steve, is knowing that the X factor will always come to the forefront. You don't know who that's going to be, but there will be a wild card in any one of these games, in any series.
No, there always will be, and you never know, and you know that's why you look, you watch, and this is how some guys make their reputation. Suddenly out of nowhere, they have huge playoff games, and they always seem to play well in the playoffs. one of those guys, big time, Robert Horry. Robert Horry is not much of a story in the regular season. Come to playoff, what do you see? Horry, big shot, big shot, big shot. And now the Lakers rolling in Minnesota. They had a 10-point advantage, up by 17 now. Pierce on the line as we look at some of the finals from tonight. And again, you have to feel, I mean, even though Indiana is down by 4, possibly 5, they got to feel good about where they are, only because they have struggled so much offensively. They're still in the hunt. Pierce gets his first 2 of the halves.
Brad Miller is in now to team with Jeff Foster. Artest, Miller, and Mercer on the floor. So again, the Pacers playing without a true point guard, and we've yet to see Tim Hardaway, who had a sensational first half. Miller outside, bluffs the 3, has the 7-foot one-up. Dribble handoff to Mercer. Fading away with no time left on the clock. He missed it, but a second chance opportunity for the Pacers, who have been monsters on the offensive glass. They had 12 offensive rebounds in the first half, 14 now for the game, and 17 second chance points as Foster scores there to pull him within 3.
But that's what Foster does. He rebounds, and he particularly at the offensive end, he's a terrific offensive rebounder. You got to get a body on him as they double up Eric Williams.
Bremer, the rookie, lets fly a 3. Rimming short, Williams the rebound. Out to Walker. Had a reset of the clock and still shoots at 3. Pacers with a rebound.
Game fatigue starting to have a little bit of effect on the Boston Celtics deep game. They were really good in the first half. They have not been so good here in the second. Tony Delk is the only one to drop a 3. Artest.
Going lefty. Missing a good defense by Williams to make it difficult for Artest.
Well, the Pacers don't have a true point guard out there. They're just kind of making up as they go with Mercer, Artest, and Reggie Miller.
Why do you think that is so? Is it defensive matchups? Because Isaiah seems to substitute always with defensive matchups in mind.
Well, I think he's looking for some point. Mercer can shoot, although he's streaky. Reggie can shoot. Artest can shoot. Those guys are all playing out on the edges. Hardaway now in the game, and maybe he'll give them a little bit better direction and get those guys better quality shots. Miller sits down.
Hardaway, after playing 10 minutes in the first half, and dishing out 3 assists, steps in for his first action of the third quarter. 10 to shoot for Boston.
Now, Bremer is almost exclusively a 3-point shooter.
The whirl in and set up Pierce beautifully for 3. And there's Paul Pierce with a 3-pointer on the right side to give the Celtics a 6-point lead. 1:06 left in the third, and a great setup by Bremer.
Yeah, and that's bad news. You know, that maybe Pierce is starting to find the rim as the Pacers cannot find the bottom of the net.
Bremer the other way. He'll pull him for 3 in transition. Got it. Bremer with a 3-pointer. Well, the Celtics coming into tonight's play had averaged 25, just under 25 attempts from 3-point range per ball game. They're not bashful. They let it go.
Oh, they shoot it, and you know, they'll go in stretches where they don't make it, and then they'll come back with a volley like they just did. Pierce for 3, Bremer with 3, 9-point advantage. 37 seconds to go. Pacers need to end on the offensive note. They got to score the ball.
Artest will get it in bounds. Hardaway will take over. Bremer will watch him with 9 to shoot.
It is a 14-point quarter for the Pacers.
And this is Artest with a jump shot that bounces twice to the top of the glass, and Blunt with a rebound. He's come up with a nice third quarter. Mark Blunt has off the bench for Petit, who picked up his 5th foul early in the frame. Pierce holding Artest at bay. Drives in, drew the D, over to Bremer for another 3. Foster the rebound with 8 seconds left in the quarter.
They have time to get a shot.
Hardaway with a 3. That's well off the mark. And that ends the third quarter of play with the Boston Celtics holding a 3-1 edge. After 3 quarters of basketball on the road, leading the Pacers by 9, 71-62. Time running out on the Pacers, Steve.
Well, they've got 12 minutes, and the Celtics have come in here with the idea of sealing the deal and putting them to bed. So they've got to have a big response here in the fourth quarter of play. We'll see how they go.
Running out on the Indiana Pacers, who do not want to go gentle into the night, facing elimination With 12 minutes remaining, they trailed by 9, and it was such a promising year in the first half of the season for the Indiana Pacers.
37-15, and they let that slip. They were leading, and one of the leaders in the conference, and then they let it slip. They fell to 3, and they have been struggling in the series and in the second half of the season. And what they all have to collectively ask themselves is, who wants this? And who wants it, that's who's going to play, and let's go out and get it. Mercer starts off with a hoop.
Over Pierce for the bucket. Within 7 now are the Pacers. Celtics on the road shooting 28 of 55, and the Pacers here at home 36%. Pierce explodes into the lane. Jump stops, but had it tipped away out of bounds. Last touch by O'Neal.
And Pierce, you know, because he's so unorthodox, is a difficult cover. You never know when he's going to pull up. You never know when he's going to extend. So, you know, with him, you have to always be aware that he is a threat. Artest shadow.
Cross court to Walker. Will push it up from 3 land with 6 to shoot. Miss it. Williams soars in for the rebound and laid it up and in on the follow.
Those kind of breakdowns they can't have. If you get a deep miss, everybody's got to go chase, and then guys in the white got to come up with that missed shot. I mean, they're having trouble manufacturing points, and they need to be able to get control of their offensive game and put Boston on their heels. Harrington.
Oh, that was a tough shot beneath the rim, leaning back. Thought he got jolted for a foul, but they won't whistle that, and he has pulled the Pacers again to within 7 points.
A ton of time for the Pacers. You know, what they've got to do is a better job at this end. Now, if they get a miss, they got to get every single rebound.
Ball batted, grabbed by Mercer on a Boston miss. Jermaine O'Neal has been noticeably absent from the mix. He's on the floor, but he's not seeing the ball. Mercer outside from the perimeter knocks down another jump shot. That could be promising for the Pacers, and trying to get it to O'Neal here in the remaining 10 minutes of play. That might bring the defense out a little bit. He's pulling within 5.
Well, Mercer is a streak jump shooter, and he may be on one of those stretches where he makes 4 or 5 shots in a row as Walker backs down Al Harrington.
Walker, the turnaround jump hook. Blunt keeps it alive, but O'Neal rips it off the glass. O'Neal with his 14th rebound tonight. 5-point Boston lead. Artest across the middle, sweeping left-hander, up and in, powered it up and in over the defense. And Jim O'Brien wants a timeout. Crowd here in Indiana senses a surge as the Pacers are within 3. Well, the Pacers down 9 to start the quarter have gone on an 8-2 run, and Ron Mercer, snapper, got him rolling with a couple of nice mid-range jump shots. Yeah,
you know, and Isaiah Thomas was saying, you know, somebody's got to make a shot. They're shooting 35% as they start the 4th quarter of play, and the streaky Ron Mercer gets 2, and Artest just doing his own improv on the way to the hoop and gets that left-hander to dance in, so they come up with 6 straight. Crowd gets on their feet. But the problems with runs is you got to go past. They're within 3. They have not gone past the Boston Celtics in the half yet.
Let's check in with Andre Aldridge now.
Quickly for you, Kevin, there, one of the things Isaiah really stressing to his team is we got to keep sharing and we got to keep passing the ball around. It's something that he put on the chalkboard before the contest, saying that's why they blew 16-point leads in games 1 and games 3. They stopped sharing the ball, and he wants them to run to score. We'll see what happens this time back down.
Walter McCarty, a stride outside of 3-point range. Andre with a 3-pointer, 3 of 6, 13 points for McCarty on 5 of 9 shooting. And Boston now from 3, 8 of 19.
Well, what they can't do is get discouraged. You know, they've got to keep making shots, and then they've got to do a better job defensively. Boston will make 3-point shots, and McCarty has proven that. Artest, first time tonight, back-to-back hoops for him.
He buries one, and the Pacers are within 4. Mercer gets away from Artest to the rim with a 2-hand jam, but broken up by Mercer, and a foul on Ron Mercer, sending Pierce to the line for 2 shots.
And one thing that Walter McCarty does well for the Boston Celtics guys is keep himself available. My hands are out. I'm ready. And he launches. And the result is center. And, you know, he's done that tonight. Now, you can't gamble on Paul Pierce, because if you miss, this is what happens. He puts so much pressure on the interior that somebody has to foul him, and he gets the first free throw.
Well, Pierce was held to 3 points in the first half, and yet Boston still had a 2-point lead. He has 9 for this game on 2 of 9 shooting. And he's shooting 92% in the series, 48 of 52. He's getting to the line nearly an average of 13 a game. Pierce hits both here. And he is 5 of 6 tonight. 78-72. Boston by 6, 8:40 to go fourth quarter. Time winding down on the Pacers.
The best way to share the basketball is to pass it. Pierce, excuse me, that is Artest on another improv drive. He gets a whistle, and Walker throws his hands up saying, where, how? Eric Williams is the guy.
Jermaine O'Neal had 17 points in the first half. He's only attempted 2 shots here in the second half. He was 0 for 2 in the third quarter, and you would think now Indiana would look maybe to go to O'Neal now that they've presumably loosened things up with their ability to suddenly hit jump shots.
Well, they haven't loosened them up enough. I mean, what Boston is saying is beat us from out there. Yeah. Beat us. You know, they're putting a guy in front and behind or on the side of Jermaine O'Neal. They're not even letting an entry pass look like it can get in.
Artest drills 2, and the Pacers are within 4. 10 of 11 are the Boston Celtics from the line, and the Pacers have missed 2 in 19 attempts here at home. Pierce outside, splits the D, running right-hander, up and into the glass. He took Jermaine O'Neal to the rack and laid it in. What a move by Pierce.
But that's why you can't gamble on Pierce. You got to try to keep him in front of you. You know, he a lot of times looks like he's dribbling a dead ball, and somehow it stays alive for him.
Pierce with a dozen.
Trying to go to Harrington on the post.
8 to shoot, 8 minutes to play in the game. Celtics by 6.
They call Antoine Walker.
Walker bumps Harrington before the shot.
Offensive players have a way of just making big plays. Look at him slap that ball through there and then find the seam and finish the play with a shot blocking Jermaine O'Neal right on his hip saying, I dare you.
8th pick in the draft. Come on. Here's Mercer to the end line, leaning into the glass. That was too easy. Boston just let him come right down the baseline. There was no help there. Celtics by 4.
Are you saying something about Scout? Come on.
They're fallible.
Whoa,
they're fallible. They're fallible. They miss a few. Terry Porter, John Stockton, Karl Malone, they were all down there. Here's Walker running into the lane with a right hand, won't go, and able to rebound.
Now Walker's in one of those stretches where nothing is going for him. And that doesn't mean he's going to stop shooting, so you got to continue to guard him. The possession here for the Pacers where they're looking for Jermaine O'Neal. Will he get his hands on the ball?
And you're right about the defense. McCarty doing a terrific job. And now Walker switches over to him. As Harrington goes that direction, there's a foul before the shot. Celtics by 4, 6:53 to go. Maybe in the season for the Pacers. Boston trying to close out on the road.
Again, the secret to making a comeback is to go past. Pierce couldn't finish.
And Williams put back off the mark. Artest, the skip pass to Mercer. Hardaway clutched as he set it up, but he rights himself in midair and drains a three-pointer straight away. The Celtics lead now has been trimmed to 1 on a Tim Hardaway 3-ball.
8 for 8. Suddenly there's offense in the guys in white.
Pierce splits a pair of double team, but jabbed away from behind by Artest, grabbed by Hardaway, chugging away on a 3-on-2 to Mercer. Into the lane, double clutches, and it wouldn't roll. Out it comes to Walker. Well, you've got to score on a 3-on-2. Or get fouled doing it. You've got to throw it down, Steve Jones. You got to get on the tramp and throw it down. Pierce inside pivot, one-on-one on Artest. He'll just float it up. Oh, and he drained it from long range. Paul Pierce with the inside pivot. 14 points. And the Celtics by 3.
6 in the quarter, and the crowd sits down. And did Indiana blow their golden chance to get the lead and really bring the crowd into the game? Stay tuned.
O'Neal into the lane, going lefty. And a foul called on O'Neal. And it was Pierce that took the shot. He took the charge.
Jermaine O'Neal is asking, when do I get this call? I'm driving. Pierce comes. His feet are straddling the line. Call should have gone for Jermaine O'Neal. The leprechaun They brought him here. Can you believe he's in the building?
He's got the shillelagh, and he's working it.
It's my own little world in there. I've got guitar lessons I've downloaded.
And every time they inch closer, as Tim Hardaway makes it a one-point game with this three, the guys in green seem to have an answer, and Paul Pierce has finally awakened as he drives this one right into the heart of the Pacers and their fans.
Pierce with 14 points and 3 other starters in double figures. Delk with 19 and Walker with 17.
And McCarty with 13. So it's not been a huge offensive game by Pierce, but he's had enough help to keep Boston on the lead. Plenty of time for the Pacers.
5:18 left in this game. Down 3. They set up defensively. Pierce again from long range. Got it. Pierce just inside the three-point perimeter. Pierce turns, and he had those wide eyes and that stare going like Steve Smith when he gets in one of those grooves. Those eyes become as big as saucers. He's given the Celtics a 5-point lead.
He has been the best fourth-quarter player in the NBA the last 2 years, showing it tonight.
Tim freezes defenders with a pump fake, drives in and knocks down a tough runner from 10 feet in the paint.
Well, Hardaway has given him a shot in the arm. In the second quarter, he did it. He's doing it here in the fourth. He's got 5 in the quarter.
Williams bounces to Pierce in the post up, drop step spin on Artest beneath the rim, blocked, but right to Walker from the weak side. He finger rolls it in. He found the gem and laid it home, and the Celtics lead by 5. 4:20 to play in this one.
Pacers
Hardaway to Harrington.
Pacers have to answer. They just have to keep scoring. They have to keep the game tight. Artest.
Nice move. Going up and under with a left hand by 2 defenders.
8 in the quarter for Artest. 21 in the ball game.
Now Delk comes the other way. 3:58 remaining, and Reggie Miller waiting at the scores table to come in for Indiana.
Well, Pierce again. He's looking at the ref, saying, what are you going to give me?
Leaning on him, Artest, cross court, Walker, flat-footed 3, rimming short, rebound to Mercer. That's the characteristic of the Celtics. Let it fly. Hardaway ties the game as he will send one up and in from 3-point range. Tim Hardaway delivering a tremendous blow for the Pacers, who have tied the game at 86 after trailing by 9 coming into the quarter. Well, they walked down the Celtics with great shooting.
The one thing that you got to know at this time of the game is that Paul Pierce is going to get a lot of attention. That means that other Boston Celtics are going to have to be able to finish plays. 3 guys come in. There's Antoine Walker to get the deuce. And then Tim Hardaway. He's having more than a flashback. He is having the time of his life, and this may keep him in uniform for another year as he nails that big 3. And he's saying, you know what? Just one more time. One more time, Coach. We're all tied up.
One more year. They want one more game. They want one more. Give me 48 more minutes. And the Celtics trying to put them away. Leading 3-1, but Hardaway has other ideas. 3 of 5 from 3, 13 points. Isaiah used him for 10 minutes in the first half. He came in at about the 137 mark of the third quarter, and now he's got enough left in the tank to be an impact guy.
Well, we don't know if he has much left in the tank, and Delk ought to find out. He ought to make a couple of mad dashes down the other end of the floor, but he's got 8 points here in the fourth quarter. Coming back to Pierce.
But Artest pushes him way outside for a 3. Pierce lets it fly and tick the iron. Good save by Williams. Back to Pierce. Reset of the clock. McCarty's had the hot hand. Not that time. An air ball snatched out of midair by O'Neal, and here come the Pacers with a chance to take the lead.
Turned it over. McCarty with a nice steal. Got around in front of Jermaine O'Neal to make the steal.
And Boston has just shut O'Neal out of the second half. Walker backs down, spins. Harrington with a block. But Williams, after the loose ball, had it jabbed away by Mercer. Boston possession, 10 to shoot, 2:46 to play in the game, and the score tied at 86.
On the spin, he thought he's going to get it up quicker, and Al Harrington quick off his feet to slap it back out.
Tie game at 86.
Basketball.
Against New Jersey to get it into overtime, and then hit a runner to push the game into the second overtime before New Jersey, the eventual Eastern Conference champions, were able to push by the Pacers in the first round in 5 games. Here's Hardaway now on the inbounds.
Well, Reggie Miller likes Tim Hardaway because they speak the same language. Well, the language that Artest is speaking is go ahead.
Hard-nosed bucket again, knifing in with the left hand. 23 points for Artest.
Huge fourth quarter for Artest. 10 in the quarter, out-dueling Paul Pierce.
The Pacers' first lead since the 4:59 mark of the second quarter. Pierce into the lane, denied by O'Neal, and hit pretty hard.
And he blocked it out of bounds, and the Celtics will get it back. Pierce is saying, what do I have to do to get a layup? Artest is been a guy that has been wearing the shirt of Paul Pierce here in the fourth.
Inbounds, too easy to Walker. He snuck behind O'Neal, and Hardaway was there, but too late. Easy bucket by Walker. 88 all with 1:56 to go here in the fourth quarter. Hardaway off the screen of O'Neal, cross court to Miller. This is Mercer. Miller with 11 to shoot. Mercer down low to O'Neal. Turns at the cup, missed the shot.
Point blank range, couldn't get it better than that. O'Neal yet to scratch here in the second.
17 in the first half. Walker backs, turns, spins, cross-court pass, Delk in the corner. 1:28 to play, 10 to shoot. Walker comes to the ball side. Backing down on Mercer, swings the jump hook up, thought he had it. Rimming into the hands of O'Neal, 18 boards for Jermaine. Tied at 88, it's Indiana's turn now. Mercer hit his first 2 from that left side to begin this fourth quarter, but he'll swing it. 6 to shoot Hardaway. To O'Neal, 3 to shoot. Miller, 2 to shoot. Mercer takes his time, fires it up, and left it short.
Now, when was the last time you saw Miller pass on the shot clock? About 4 seconds ago in his hand, didn't shoot it, and they come up dry. The question is, why is he out there? If you don't shoot, what do you do?
Miller, this has been an issue now from the critics here in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Pacers, that Miller's not been given an ample opportunity in the fourth quarter. He's averaged just 5 minutes in the previous 4 games in the fourth quarter of play.
Well, they go offense to defense. Harrington comes in, Foster comes in, Artest, O'Neal, and Ron Mercer. Pierce on his own.
Spins in, doubled out to McCarty, rotated. Delk a quick 3 up, hit the back rim, long rebound. Walker's after it, Foster collides with him, and Artest comes up with it. And Isaiah Thomas and the Pacers call a timeout with 39 seconds left, and the score tied at 88.
Well, now let's see if they come back with Tim Hardaway and Reggie Miller back in the lineup to get one more scoring chance. But Paul Pierce got the basketball and was on his own trying to make something happen. A little hesitation, and Artest stays with him. They come back, and this play has worked for them so much tonight where they have swung the ball to the open man. Delk has been big throughout the ball game and making threes. That one doesn't drop, and Indiana gets the rebound. There are about 16 seconds between game and shot. So Indiana has 23 seconds, and if they get the shot, then Boston has a chance to answer. They've got to go for the score. They can't fool around and hold the ball because the Celtics will get it back again. So you go for a quick score. If you miss it, you at least give yourself a chance to get the second opportunity. And if not, Boston has it. You'll still have time to tie the game up.
And if you're Indiana, who do you look to? Ron Artest has been pretty good here in the fourth quarter at creating his own opportunity, getting to the rim. You know he's going to get to the rim, Steve, so it seems to me you increase your chances of scoring either at the line or maybe getting an and one.
Well, I mean, you know, one thing Artest can do, he can bull his way into the hoop. And I think that if they do it, they've got to do it quickly. They've got to isolate Artest, let him take a quick drive, and then they've got to crash the board. Hardaway back in the game, Miller back in the game, along with Artest, Mercer, and Jermaine O'Neal.
Indiana's hit 11 of 14 in the fourth quarter play.
The only time that Indiana cares about being ahead is at the end of the game. So if they're ahead by 1, 2, or 3, that's all that counts. They go to Boston for game 6.
39.6 seconds left in the ball game, and the score tied at 88. Mercer will bring it in bounds. Hardaway comes off the Artest screen up top. Hardaway with 20 to shoot now begins the play in the half court. Miller running off a double screen on the left side. He's crowded, gives to Artest. He'll slash in, kick to Mercer, elevates for the J, rimming off. Mercer after it, O'Neal after it, loose to the corner. They both dive in front of the Boston bench. Out of bounds it goes. Derek Stafford with a bang call. What's he got, Steve?
Looks like he's got a timeout for Boston and Pierce.
Oh. So Pierce was able to fend off O'Neal as they were both diving to the deck, grab the ball and call a timeout. That's quite an effort.
Well, the ball goes to the floor. Mercer has a wide open shot. He had a couple of makes early. O'Neal on the inside. Pierce slides and calls a timeout.
Wow.
Now, the Boston Celtics play it this way. Win or go to overtime. They hold for the final shot of this ball game. Don't give Indiana a chance to get another look. You're either making the shot, getting fouled, or you're playing an extra 5 minutes.
23 and 2/10 seconds left, and the Boston Celtics have one foul to give. They have now used up their timeouts, and Indiana will have 1 20-second timeout remaining. 1 20-second timeout remaining for the Pacers.
The Pacers have to play straight up defense. Do they have a foul to give?
Well, we welcome the viewing audience on TNT tonight to Indianapolis, Indiana, Conseco Fieldhouse, where the Boston Celtics hold a 3-1 edge on the Indiana Pacers in this playoff series. And the Pacers, playing for their playoff lives, have tied this game at 88-88 after trailing by 9 coming into the fourth quarter of play. The Boston Celtics, after a scramble for a loose ball in the corner, won by Paul Pierce and subsequently calling a timeout, now have it in front court. Along with Steve Jones, Andre Aldridge, I'm Kevin Calabro. Steve set it up as the Celtics bring it in bounds.
Well, the Celtics want to hold for the last shot. Indiana has a foul to give, but this is Boston's game to win or to go into overtime. Let's see how they handle it. Coming back to Pierce, they want to use all of the time.
Pierce had just 3 points in the first half, but here in the fourth quarter, he's got a nice groove going, and a foul to give used by Artest with 12 and 3/10 seconds left. So Boston will bring it back in bounds.
I don't know if you use it now. I mean, now you got nothing to give, and they got too much time. I mean, if you're going to give a foul when the guy goes on the move, as Artest is trying to bully Pierce out of position. They can't let him get an off-the-ball foul and shoot 2 free throws. Pierce back with the ball.
He's averaged 28 points in the series against Indiana. Tonight held to 16 points. 6 seconds left. Covered by Artest. 3 seconds left. Pierce for the win. Driving into the lane to the glass. Ripped as he went airborne. Buzzer sounds. No time remaining. The officials indicate overtime. Score tied at 88 here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
He had a lane, but he could not get the ball up. He thought he was going to get a call, but Boston played it the way you're supposed to play it. You've got the final possession. You want to make sure the opponent does not get a shot. Pierce has the lane right here. He's coming in, and O'Neal comes over, and from the rear, Artest slapped it away.
Focus and intensity aren't just mental. They're physical. They take you over.
Watch out if
Like a good release from Reggie Miller. Looked like it shot off the side of his hand.
Miller tonight just 3 of 8. Pass inside of Walker, intercepted by Mercer. Hardaway giving it everything he can with a bad right knee up the floor to Miller. Leads it off the contact, looking for the call. He won't get it. But Artest with a rebound. Reset of the clock. Mercer won't use it. He'll just fire away. O'Neal hauls it down, and he's tied up for a jump ball.
Indiana cannot say that they're not getting chances. They have had 3 opportunities right from the outset of the ball game, have not been able to strike, and they've been open shots.
Now Eric Williams will step in and Tony Battie will depart.
Trying to match up defensively. The Pacers have a small team out there with the exception of Jermaine O'Neal. O'Neal and Delk on the jump ball. And the Celtics should look to steal. This ball should come back between Miller and Artest.
And Williams was looping that way, but the Pacers make the catch. Hardaway 17 to shoot. Off to Mercer, has a step on McCarty. Ripped from behind by McCarty. Great recovery by Walter. He tipped it out of bounds. Pacers taken on the baseline with 11 to shoot.
Pacers look like they have angles and they've been taken away on the drives. 11 on the shot clock.
Taking it is Mercer. Hardaway will fire it up from 3. Terrific rebound by Artest on the baseline. Tight ropes the end line and brings it outside.
Now you know why they go into Jermaine O'Neal so much, because he has the best opportunity to score. Can they get him the ball? That's the question. Miller.
Is it Miller time? Not yet. Missed the 3. Batted by McCarty, and Delk will hold. And now the Pacers drop back defensively. Playing for another day with 3:35 left in the overtime and the score tied at 88. No score in the OT yet. Pierce up top. O'Neal brings the rebound down. Hustling play by Williams. Jams it free, but it's Artest at midcourt. Taken back by Walker. Taken back by Artest. Saved to O'Neal. Hardaway the other way has Miller trailing. Off it comes to Mercer.
3 on 2, and Miller is not shooting. He is not comfortable. There obviously has to be something wrong with him as they block that one. We've seen some great individual defensive saves, but we've seen no offense so far. Miller nowhere on the planet.
And Delk and McCarty all over that play. So no score in the overtime yet. Defensive tussle, Steve.
Well, it has been, but it hasn't been because the Indiana Pacers haven't had looks at the basket. They have had opportunities. Boston has not, and that's been the difference so far.
3:06 left in overtime, and the score tied at 88. And we're back to Indianapolis in a moment.
What if there was one offense to battle any defense? A system that would adjust to any coach's philosophy.
Indiana 0 for 7, Steve.
This is like hockey, shots on goal, and the Pacers have had 7 shots on goal, haven't cracked, and the Boston Celtics have had just 1.
And the Celtics steal the inbounds pass from the Pacers. Pierce now will test Mercer on the baseline, and the foul called on Mercer, non-shooting foul. And it's the first team foul on the Pacers. 2:50 left here in overtime.
Now, Artest is over there talking to his teammates on the bench. Miller comes to the bench. Al Harrington comes in the ball game. Miller has not been a factor in this ball game, and certainly not a factor in this OT.
Isaiah substitutes defensively. Harrington now will have the assignment on Walker. Pierce is checked by Artest. Pierce will take the inside pivot, take a look, hard dribble, pull up Jay, rimming. Rebound grabbed by O'Neal, who has 20 boards for the game with 17 points, but all scored in the first half. Pacers now 0 for 7 in the overtime. Boston 0 for 2.
What you don't like about Indiana is they don't seem to have a play where they know they can get a good shot, and they can't get a shot for Jermaine O'Neal. 4 on the clock.
And they're not even bringing O'Neal to the ball side. Harrington will float one up that's blocked and came up short, and Delk with a rebound. The Pacers offense seems to be in disarray. 2:07 left in the OT, and Boston will call a timeout to think about it. Score tied at 88 all.
Well, it has been almost 3 minutes since anybody cracked an egg here, and I'm sure Isaiah Thomas is saying, you know, what I want now is a player like me, a guy that can make his own way and make a shot. He doesn't have that kind of guy out on the floor, and Jim O'Brien calls a timeout. Usually in this situation, they like to have a 2-man game. Pierce, Walker, Pierce, and then the other players will play off of them.
Welcome to Progressive.com. Ah, I see you have a list.
Held to 3 points in the first half. Seemed to find a rhythm in the fourth quarter. He's 5 for 20, however, in this game with 16 points. The hot hand has been Antoine Walker, 10 of 23 with 21. Tony Delk has 19 points. 10 shots pitched up by the two clubs and no score yet. Score tied at 88. The Pacers this year 6-2 in overtime, and Boston 3-2 for what that's worth.
Well, they have been isolating Pearson, allowing him to go one-on-one. Look for Antoine Walker to get his hands on the ball out of this timeout.
Williams will bring it in bounds with McCarty, Walker, Pierce, and Delk stacked at the top. Delk will get it in bounds. Walker opens up on the left side with Harrington. Dribbles baseline, ripped by Harrington, got into the air, and a foul called by Derek Stafford on the baseline. And this will send Antoine Walker to the free throw line with a chance to break the stalemate.
What Walker is very good at is using his quickness, comes across the lane. Al Harrington reeks. That's what got him in trouble, and Harrington would have lived with the foul, but not the opportunity for Antoine Walker to go to the line.
Walker coming into tonight's play was just 3 of 8, only 8 attempts from the free throw line in the previous 4 games, and he misses this one with a chance to give his ball club the lead. It's his first free throw attempt of this game.
Miller back in the ball game and replacing Al Harrington, but that free throw, that was shot out of a cannon. Those are the kind you get early in the ball game, not late in the game.
Well, let's see if Walker can put a little more feel on this one. He didn't. He rammed it off the front rim, and O'Neal with his 21st rebound. That's a career playoff high. Pacer fans on their feet with 1:50 to go in this ball game. Neither team has scored in the overtime. O'Neal in deep. High banker. That wouldn't go. And McCarty with a rebound. 1:37 left in OT, and neither team has scored.
Again, Walker with the ball, gonna make the play, got a mismatch with Reggie Miller.
He's got 25 pounds on Walker, nearly juggled it, saves it to Williams. He leans back, a circus shot is short. Artest had the rebound, clipped by Williams, and a foul called. Loose ball foul on Williams. Williams with his 5th personal foul, but the Celtics with their first in the last 2 minutes. And both teams now at the limit.
Well, would it leave you one at the free throw line because nobody can make a shot?
Sure seems that way.
Well, the crowd is chanting Reggie. Let's see if Miller can respond. He had not even been close on his shot as they looked at Jermaine O'Neal. Got him sealed.
Hardaway picks up the dribble. Now cross court to Artest. He's been good at slashing. He drives in and he draws the foul. Ooh, and he nearly takes Derek Stafford out of the play. So Artest now will shoot 2.
Well, Artest has been a guy that has made his own way in this ball game, and in the fourth quarter was a huge factor, spinning and just using his strength to get it done, and then headlong into Derek Stafford. He really should have played football. He would have been a great football player.
Artest coming out of Queensbridge, New York City. Suspended for 12 games this year.
Artest is a player that constantly talks about pressure and the pressure of just surviving, and he has a chance to give his team a chance to survive at the line.
Boston in its storied history has led 3 games to 1 20 times. 20 times in the club's history, and they are 20-0. That's what the Pacers are playing against tonight. The Pacers in their playoff series lives after losing the first game are 0-12. Pacers down 3 games to 1. We're down 2 at half, down 9 at the end of 3, but came back to tie this game, get it into overtime. Neither team has scored in the overtime. We're scored at 88. Artest to break the tie. He did, hitting the 2nd free throw. He splits a pair, and the Pacers now have a lead of 1 with 1:04 remaining. Where are the Celtics going, Steve?
They're coming back to Pierce, and with no fouls to give for the Indiana Pacers, they can't afford this mismatch to stay. Pierce against Jermaine O'Neal, 5 on the clock.
4 to shoot, driving in is Pierce. 2 to shoot, out of the corner McCarty. The 3 is short, rebound to Tim Hardaway. Hardaway's going to hold up, bring it across, and call a timeout. Crowd on their feet here at Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. One of the finest venues for basketball in maybe the world. Finest I've ever seen.
Well, you're from Butler University. This just looks like your whole arena, but this is a great facility, and there's a lot of tension, a lot of nervousness in all of these fans here that are in attendance. They're hoping that this one single point will hold up. You know, maybe we're looking at NBA playoff history. 1 point in overtime? Total?
I'm sure we've got a core of researchers right now in the mobile truck scrambling, poring over arcane NBA records, looking for that nugget. And we might have just 1 point scored in the overtime for a win. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, that was a mismatch that they wanted, but they forced him to kick that ball out to McCarty, who had been so good. Confusion by Indiana. They're not sure. They want a timeout. They're not sure what they want to do. They finally get the timeout, which means as we look at this, Boston is going to have one more chance. Boston has not scored. There has not been a field goal made in the overtime by either team.
Boston held a 9-point lead coming into the fourth quarter. The Pacers hit 11 of their first 14 shots of the fourth quarter. That got them back into it. Mercer started it with a couple of mid-range jump shots. It's something that was sorely missing from Indiana's offense tonight. It was O'Neal that carried them with 17 of their 48 in the first half. But they started to find the perimeter jump shots here in the second half.
Tim Hardaway was that hero in that fourth quarter. He had 8 points, 8 big points. Pacers have the ball right here. And Miller is in, but he has not been able to do anything. I'm looking probably for this ball to go in the hands of Artest and let him make a play and see if Jermaine O'Neal can crash the board. 13 shots.
Boston 0 for 4 and Indiana 0 for 9 from the field. It's been an Artest free throw that's been the difference, 89-88.
Hardaway. Ball to O'Neal. They got it.
And he's got a 10-footer up and in. So Jermaine O'Neal with his first bucket since the first half puts Indiana on top by 3. 19 to shoot, 25 seconds left in the game. And it's Pierce with a step back. Air ball grabbed by O'Neal.
Well, the Celtics should foul, but they're playing it straight up.
Artest in front court, and there is Walker to foul Ron Artest, giving the Pacers an opportunity now for 2 free throws with a 3-point lead and 12 seconds even remaining in the ballgame.
O'Brien is over there, head down, thinking about the opportunities missed, but Jermaine O'Neal has not had many chances. Miller gave him a really good pass. He was able to catch it on the move and drop it. Artest at the line.
You have to wonder a little bit about Pierce's selection of that shot. Down 3, trying with a man in his face to hit a step back 3. I wonder if Jim O'Brien's thinking the same thing. You can get a bucket, maybe foul then. Down 1.
You don't doubt your fourth quarter go-ahead player. I mean, he took what he thought was going to be a shot that would give them a chance to win the game by tying it up.
Artest hits both free throws, and the Pacers now lead it by 5 with 12 seconds left in the overtime. The Celtics have not scored in overtime.
No. And they've got 12 seconds to tie it up. So what they've got to do is take the first score. They've got to get a quick hitting play. If they shoot a 3 and they miss, this game is over because they're going to have to foul. The lead climbs again. So they've got to take the first score. It's got to be a quick hitting play. Then they've got to turn around, try to get a steal. If they don't get the steal, foul, stop the clock, and take their chances with the Pacers at the free throw line.
Style chest hair here?
No.
Too bad.
Ow! I'm sorry.
High definition, only on NBA TV.
Artest tonight, 26 points, 10 of 11 from the line. Very solid defense on Paul Pierce, and he had 9 rebounds.
Big game for Artest because he matched Pierce in the fourth quarter. Pierce had 8, he had 10. So he was able to get some offense going, keep him in the game. Now it's up to Boston to come up with a quick hitting play. You know, and they haven't made a field goal, haven't had a lot of chances. Only 4 field goals in the quarter. Foster pressuring the ball.
And McCarty to get it in bounds.
Now what you don't want is a dead ball foul as Artest is trying to deny Pierce the ball.
McCarty will get it to Petit. He'll turn and fire it up. A 3-pointer's off. Rebound Ron Artest. He'll dribble up the floor. Boston can't track him down. 3 seconds left. 2-1 game over here in Indiana. The Pacers win here tonight in overtime, defeating the Boston Celtics 93-88. And the Celtics did not score a point in overtime. Game 6 will head to Boston, Massachusetts, with the Celtics trailing now 3-2 edge. A new playoff record, no points in the overtime. For the Boston Celtics, the previous record had been 1 point in 1993. Let's head down to the court now here in Indianapolis. And Andre Aldrich with a fellow broadcaster, Tim Hardaway.
All right, thanks a lot there, Kevin. Something a little old and something a little new. Old fella, I'm going to let you get your breath for a second here, okay? Ron Artest, backs against the wall, obviously. What was going on in the overtime of this contest?
I mean, we just play hard. We put ourselves in the hole. We lost game 1, we was up. Game 3 and 4, we was up. And now we got to be man enough sort of to get ourselves out the hole. We was up 18, 16 points. And it wasn't like we didn't have opportunities to put them away. But give a lot of credit to the Celtics. But we just got to, just step up and just keep playing hard and play together. And hopefully the outcome will be good for us.
26 points, 9 rebounds, 46 minutes of play for you. But you're a youngster, that's all right. What about this old guy over here?
I mean, he played a lot of minutes. I was asking him to pick up. I knew he was a bit tired, but he gave us a lot, and that's what veterans bring to the table. And who knows where we'll be without him right now.
All right, thanks a lot, Ron. Tim Hardaway, I know you know how to work the microphone, and before this game, you were reminding me that you knew how to play still, and you would make a factor in this contest.
Oh, yeah, I know how to play this game still. I know, what it takes to win ball games. I come out here, play hard, get us into offense, make some jump shots, go to the hole, make some assists. That's what it's all about, just running the team, running the show.
Obviously, as I said to Ron, backs against the wall for you guys, but you're still playing at crunch time.
Yeah, playing at crunch time. I think that's what they got me here for, to play at crunch time, get the ball to the right person, and when the ball swings back to me, make a play. I've been in this predicament before. I was down 3-1 New York, and we came back and won in 3 ball games in a row. So I'm not new to this. I know what it takes. I'm just telling the people, the team, keep their minds, keep their heads, and come out here with a lot of energy for 48 minutes.
Outstanding ball game for you. 27 minutes of play. Do this for me. Let your friends that work the microphones all the time work them, okay? And you play ball.
All right, I will do.
All right, Tim Hardaway, we'll see you in game number 6. Great ball game for the Indiana Pacers as they keep hope alive. Now let's get it back over to Kevin and Snapper.
Andre, thank you very much. So the Pacers, with the free throw by Artest, get off the schneid. It was the first score in nearly 3 minutes of the overtime, and it was enough of a lead to hang on.
Somehow they snatched the shillelagh from the leprechaun, and they pulled this one out. So a very gutty effort by the Indiana Pacers, and maybe that's a